I never thought it was this bad. Really never thought it was this bad. I'm telling you, you guys, I'm telling you, it's unfreaking believable. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. In today's episode, we're going to be exposing yet again another industry problem when it comes to bagged compost, or should I say CONpost, as you're about to see. So one thing that I have always had an issue with is not getting what I pay for. As someone who spends hard-earned dollars on goods and services, I know the feeling of investing my hard-earned money into a product or a service and getting something that is less than I expected. It's a really sucky feeling. But one of the biggest issues I've noticed lately has been the issue of filler in bagged compost. Now, I'm not saying that every company does add filler to their bagged compost. Compost should be just that. It should be broken down or mostly degraded organic material. Now, whether that is forest humus, which is basically just wood chip mulch, labeled as something fancier than it really is, it's more or less a smoke and mirrors marketing tactic to make you think that you're adding something very natural and beautiful into your garden. It's great, don't get me wrong, forest humus or wood chip humus is awesome, but when it's not broken down and it's just wood chips thrown in, that becomes filler. There's no immediate benefit to your garden, and in fact there can actually be side effects or negative side effects when using it. There's also things like sand. I've seen so many places selling compost that has sand added in. Now I understand when you're doing things on a large scale, there's to be some sand expected just in the processing and scooping and turning process, because sand is a naturally occurring particle or process that we come in contact with when we're working with soil. So I'm expecting some sand, but to the amount that we come in contact with would lead me to believe that it lines more in with filler. Now, what is filler? Filler is any type of inert material that adds bulk or weight, whether that's through volume or mass. So volume being like cubic feet, or mass being pounds. These are 40-pound bags. And so filler would cause you to buy something inert that is essentially adding volume or weight that is not benefiting or contributing to the actual thing you're buying. That is the metric that we're going to go by when I unveil this really dirty, no pun intended, secret. So to conduct this experiment, what we are going to do is we're going to take a bag of composted cow manure, which should be just that, cow manure that's been composted. Pretty cut and dry. And we're going to take a bag of topsoil. Now, the reason why we're taking topsoil is so we can really compare the percentages to topsoil to cow manure or any type of compost whatsoever. The reason why we went with cow manure is because, in my opinion, this should be even more pure and free of any filler if it in fact is true cow manure, just based on a cow's diet. And so what we're going to find, and I think what you're going to see, is really shocking. Now, this bag of black cow ran us about $6 at our local hardware store, and this bag of topsoil ran us $2. So there's a marked premium that you're paying for cow manure. Now, am I saying there's not cow manure in this? Not saying that. I think there's cow manure in here, but I think what you'll find is there's a lot of other stuff that you probably shouldn't be paying for. This experiment is really simple, and it's something that you can do at home. And in fact, you can even do this with your garden soil to test the analysis of your soil to see how much sand, silt, and clay and organic material is in your soil. So what we're gonna do is we have a mason jar here just filled up with a random amount of water. It doesn't have to be anything specific. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our topsoil and we're going to add a good amount of it. It's probably gonna overflow, and that's fine. What we're going to do is essentially we're going to add a good amount. The amount does not have to be the same in either case, because what we're going to do is we're going to add this into the slurry, and we're going to shake it up. And when we shake it up, what's going to happen is it's going to suspend everything. And what we're going to find is there's going to be a layer on top, which is your organic material, things like wood chips or just lighter organic material. It could be grass clippings, leaf mulch, whatever. If it's not fully broken down yet, it's going to be lighter and it's going to float. It's going to be buoyant. That's your organic material. And then what's down below, the very first thing to settle out is going to be your sand. And so we can take our jar and we can give it a good shake, just like this. No one ever said it's gonna be a clean job, but we're gonna shake it just like this to get it all suspended, because the most dense thing is the sand, and that's gonna drop out first. So we're gonna take that and let that sit for a couple minutes, and we're gonna do the same thing with the black cow manure. Now, I would think that when I think of cow manure, I think of a cow's diet. I think of things like grass. I think of things like maybe straw or hay, maybe corn. And so what I find in here would typically either float or would dissolve into the water. It's going to be things like silt or just kind of your really fine particulate. I wouldn't expect to find a lot of sand, and I also wouldn't expect to find a lot of things like wood chips. So let's see what the results are in about 5 minutes. All right, so we've waited about 5 minutes or so. Things have settled out very nicely, and they're gonna continue to settle out, but we don't need to have any more settling to see that we got some pretty serious issues. So this first container right here, this is the black cow right out of the bag, as you saw. And this right here, this is the topsoil right out of the bag. Now, for a topsoil analysis, this is kind of already looking like kind of what I would expect. All you have to do is you have to take a ruler, measure the sample. This is your sample right here. And what you'll see is that in this sample here, we're talking about 3.5 inches of a sample. And then this sample right here is right around 2.5 inches. They don't need to be the same, because all we're going to do is we're going to divide out. So the problem here that I'm seeing, now we'll start with the topsoil to give this one kind of the benefit of the doubt here. So what I'm seeing here is about 2 inches out of the 2.5 is sand. Then there's about a half inch or so of what is considered silt. There's not much clay in this sample. It's basically like a sandy loam. And that's actually really good. That's kind of what I would expect from a good topsoil. That's actually right in line with a high quality topsoil, is like a sandy loam texture. It's not going to hold on to water well. It's not making any promises. And if I take my hand here and scoop off the top, you're finding some particulate, you're finding some wood chips, which is to be expected, but there's not that much floating debris. It's pretty, there is obviously some lightweight stuff, and that's fine. So you're out of the total sample, you do the math, 2.5 divided by 2, that gives you your percentage of sand. 2.5 divided by 0.5 is your percentage of silt, and that's going to give you your breakdown. Now, let's look at the cow manure, which I would expect to be mostly silt. I expect it to be mostly composted material. And what are we finding here? Out of about a 3.5 inch sample or so, give or take, we're looking at about 1.5 inches of sand. 1.5 inches of sand right out of the bag. Again, I would expect there to be a little bit of sand. They're obviously scraping and working. They're turning these piles of cow manure. But, when I see a bag of cow manure, I'm not expecting to get what is about 30% sand. And that's going to be indicative of the whole bag. Give or take, it's going to be about 30% sand given this line right here. That's the sample size we have. And then the rest is kind of a silty layer here. That's to be expected. That makes up the large majority. That's that composted cow manure that you'd come to expect. But then let's see what's up here. Quite a lot of floating material. Whoopsie doodle doo. I don't know if that looks like something that cows eat. No cow that I've ever seen, at least. A lot of wood chips in that little sample, and that was just 2 big handfuls. So now that we've realized that there's a pretty egregious amount of sand and a pretty egregious amount of what I would consider to be wood chips. I mean, that's got color to it, folks. That's a wood chip. Don't think that went through a cow's intestine, but could be wrong. All right, so now that we have assessed that there is both sand and clearly wood chips in this bag of cow manure, what we're going to do is just show just how bad this actually is in the totality of a bag of this black cow here. So we have just some clean water in a moderately clean 5-gallon bucket. But for all intents and purposes, it is clean. Wouldn't drink out of it, but I would sure as heck be able to see the bottom, which is all I need. I'm going to take this stuff right here, And I'm going to load in as much as I possibly can to really rinse this. I'm going to rinse this, and I'm going to get all of the lies that they have hidden in this bag here, and we're going to rinse the lies to really show the fact that you're not getting what you pay for. And I hate to say it because I just don't like bad business practices. I just don't. What happens when you take wood chips and you throw them into the garden? Uncomposted wood chips robs nitrogen. Well, they're saying here that this has 0.5% available nitrogen. That is correct until it starts breaking down. Then the wood chips that are in this are going to rob nitrogen in a process called nitrogen sequestration. And that is why you don't take wood chips and put them in the garden. They make good mulch. They don't make good garden soil. They don't make good potting soil. They are not something that is good. And so we are going to rinse this as much as I can. Ooh, we're starting to overflow here. I'm going to rinse this to get this stuff to float, because I'm telling you what, this is insane, you guys. Handfuls of mulch. Look, I'm just pulling out handfuls of this stuff. Handfuls and handfuls of like legit wood, you guys. Legit wood. I can't even believe this. Okay, so it's Michigan and it gets dark here at like 3 o'clock. So we are hurrying here, and I'm not gonna be able to do the entire bag, but you're gonna get a really clear idea because this is absolutely insane. All we're doing here now, we're just resorting, there's so much mulch, in fact, there's so much mulch that we're resorting to just putting it through a kitchen sieve here, like a colander, and rinsing it out. And we're talking everything that I'm pulling out that's not going through, that's not, actually making it past this colander here. We're talking everything that's getting caught is a piece of wood, you guys. Wood, not straw, not hay, not grass, not corn, not anything but wood chips. Literal wood chips. I'm telling you, I never thought it was this bad in my entire life. I knew it was bad being in the industry and seeing some of the garbage that happens, or seeing some of the bull crap that happens. I never thought it was this bad. Really never thought it was this bad. I'm telling you, you guys, I'm telling you, it's unfreaking believable. We're losing daylight. I'm gonna do a couple more rinses. I can't even do the full bag. This alone is so damning. Just the simple, and look what I'm doing for you guys. I'm up to my elbow in crap for you guys. Well, actually, you know what? It's not even that bad. I'm up to my elbow in wood chips, really. So that's not even that bad.
Boom, roasted.
But honestly, this is offensive. And I gotta call this what this is. This is, not only is this false marketing, not only is this bad for the garden, not only is this a scam and a lie, but this is probably one of the most common things that the industry as a whole just thinks is, it's okay. And that's what I take really great issue with, is the fact that, if I'm getting cow manure, I would expect it to be cow manure. If I'm getting composted, let's say it's mushroom compost, I'm expecting it to be like horse manure that's been broken down, or some type of straw material, some type of medium that's been broken down by mushrooms, and I'm not going to expect to find any sand or wood chips. But time and time again, I see this crap getting pulled, and honestly, I am fed up with it. I am so fed up with how greedy and scammy and crappy, literally crappy, the gardening industry can be. Honestly, it just is really frustrating. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this inside where I'm gonna give this one final really good rinse. I'm gonna take this stuff inside, and we're gonna take it inside where we can look at it properly. I'm gonna rinse this stuff out, and we're gonna put it inside where you guys can see in nice bright light, because after all lies are exposed in sunlight.
Boom, roasted.
So this is triple washed. Water coming out still slightly dirty, but basically clean, meaning any type of composted manure has been rinsed through, and what is left is nothing but wood chips. This is pretty obvious. This, we can all agree, are literal chunks of wood. Nothing but wood chips. And this was just from 25% of the bag. So what did we learn? Well, we learned that this is a cow. Cows eat grass. What else did we learn? Well, we learned that this is a beach. Beaches have sand. Have you ever seen a cow at the beach? I don't think so. Cows do not exist at the beach. What else did we learn? We learned that this is a forest. You know what else comes from forests? Wood chips. And so how does sand and wood chips end up in cow manure? Like I said, black cow, you got some explaining to do. Just know that this happens all the time. You're getting scammed. Find the brands that are not scamming you. And I have yet to find a really super good one. There's some that are pretty good. Black cow, not one of them.
Boom roasted. Boom roasted.
As always, remember to grow big or go home. We'll catch you guys later. See ya. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, consider clicking this one. You'll probably enjoy it just as much. I want to thank you for your viewership because without it, this channel would not be as amazing as it is. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free, and we upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. We also have vegetable seeds, fertilizer, or tools. If you need any of those, consider visiting MIgardener.com. Links will be in the description box below. We've got you covered. And as always, we'll see you all in the garden. Take care. Bye.